Many of the locations that I've filmed are demolished or redeveloped into something more beneficial to the city or town that they were rotting in. There are many success stories about what some of these places have become, and just as many failures. I find it interesting how one can drive past a structure for decades, and when that structure is gone or changed, one can adapt to the new situation rather quickly, sometimes without even giving it a single thought. I'm going to follow up on a few of my favorite locations and let you decide what was more interesting. What is or what was. The Fitzgerald Manor was a nursing home for veterans, and I just found that out by the next door neighbor who owns it now and bought the property. Now, I knew it was a nursing home, obviously, because my grandmother worked there back in the 60s, and my father lived in the upstairs in the 90s. When I was about 13 years old, he lived up there for about a year, and I had to stay there with him on visitation. But the apartment that he lived in was separate. Like, there was a separate entrance. You didn't go through the nursing home to get to his apartment. So I never saw what the downstairs looked like. And I was always curious about it because you always hear these stories growing up about all these hauntings and, all this stuff that happened in there. Like every nursing home, you hear these stories, but, none of them are probably true. Any place that's abandoned or scary looking, they're going to have stories, as you know. But it was definitely worth filming, and I would film it again, even if it wasn't a nursing home. But many veterans spent their last dying days in this place, and, a lot of history did go on in here that I'll never know about, and no one ever really will, because most of the people that worked in this place are no longer with us. But it is bought by the next door neighbor, and as you saw in the original video, the place is really, really far gone. I'm pretty sure that there was a tarp on the roof for about 25 years, and the previous owner lived in it while it was leaking and rotting all around him. I'm surprised at how long he stayed in it in that condition, but he did. And now with the price of building material after the pandemic here, everything's triple the price. So to save this place, it would be absolutely ridiculous. And as you saw, there was holes in the floor. It was rotted from the basement to the attic. There was no saving it. But let's take one last look inside of what it used to look like, and then I'll show you what it became. So I came back to this place on 3 separate occasions just to see the progress on it. And as we speak right now, it is completely leveled and it's just a yard, and grass is growing. So to many people, they might say, well, that's not really a success story, but to me it is, because rather than sitting around for the next 40 years rotting and kids sneaking in it and falling through the floor and getting killed, it now looks like a large, beautiful yard, and it's no longer blighting the neighborhood. So to me, that's a success. But what do you think? What was better? What is or what was? Thank you for taking the last look inside of the Fitzgerald Manor with me.
Check it out, man. I mean, this merch is like really sick. Check me out, bro.